Hey guys, it's Rachel from The Little Reading Lamb, and today I have a book review on This Girl by Colleen Hoover, and this is the third and final book in the Slam trilogy. And this book I thought was pretty good. It wasn't my favorite of the series because this book goes back in time, so you hear Will's perspective on what the events in Slammed, but then you also get a glimpse of how their life's been going since the second book wrapped up. Because the epilogue in the second book was like just the beginning. And yes, so basically if you have not read the first two books, there will be spoilers about those books, but this is a no spoilers review on This Girl. So, basically if you need my book reviews or just need a refresher, I rate my books in 5 different categories: plot, characters, cover, suspense, and overall in terms of read again very soon, 5 to 5, and not so soon, 1 out of 5. So yes, before we get started, so basically, a brief synopsis of this book is basically it's Will and Laken's honeymoon. And basically throughout the chapters they have scenes with their honeymoon, and then they have in between scenes of Will telling Laken what he thought and his perspective on the events that happened in the book Slam. So for plot, I give it a 3.5 to 5. Now normally these books always have been rating higher, but this book I gave a 3.5 to 5 because I just didn't love it as much. It was Will basically retelling some of the events of Slammed, and then in between we have obviously the honeymoon chapters. And also this book is the more explicit, I would say, of the 3, but it was still good. I didn't really like as much some of Will's retellings. I wanted more of their future and their life together rather than going back in the past, because I wanted even more of the story. Even after this epilogue, I still want more of the story because I just really love the characters. But the plot, I think it progressed okay. It wasn't my favorite. It took me quite a while to read, but more will be coming up on that later. Characters, I give a 5 to 5. I absolutely love the characters in this series. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. They're absolutely amazing. I loved seeing, well, basically this book centers only really around Will and Laken, but we get flashbacks of the characters and how Will sees them in his perspective, which I found was very interesting. But it says, there are 2 sides to every love story. Now here Will's. But I was kind of confused by that caption on the back, just because we heard Will's perspective in the second book, Point of Retreat. So I guess it's just on the first book. I was kind of we heard some of his perspective, but we didn't hear Laken's on Point of Retreat. But I really actually enjoyed this book for, the characters. I really love Will and Laken together. They're so cute. And I loved seeing, the other characters. I don't want to give too much away because I know what happens at the end, so zip lip. Okay, so cover I give a 1 out of 5. So this cover, this is one of the newer covers. I've seen the new covers. I think I went on Colleen Hoover's website because I was looking up something, but I saw the new covers of the Slam series. I don't like them as much as the old ones. This is the, I don't think this book had any other print, but they changed the covers, and I don't really like this cover at all. The spine really reminds me of a Sarah Dessen book. Not that I'm hating them, but Sarah Dessen books don't. I like Sarah Dessen's books, but I don't really like the covers. Some of the new covers are way better, but it reminds me of the old style mixed in with this lullaby in the new print, if that makes sense. I think it's really cheesy, and I wouldn't take this out of the house. I just do not like the cover at all. But the one thing I do appreciate though is that they have the butterfly on the spine like every other novel, and the alignment of the text is like this and that, so they do look good on the shelf. They look cohesive. The color palette is off, but I appreciate the cohesiveness of it. And yeah, there's not much that I really love with this book, for the cover, at least. And suspense, I give a 3.5 to 5 once again. The suspense was pretty good. It was it took me a little bit longer to read because I wasn't too attached to it, because I knew what happened in Slammed. I knew what happened in Point of Retreat, so hearing Will's side of it, it's not really going to change anything. So I was kind of you know. It wasn't too suspenseful, but at least the last half I would say was way better than the first half. It kind of picked up more, and you got to see, I'd say, more of their future rather than reflecting more on the past. And overall, I give it a 3.5 to 5. I definitely read it again with the series. I definitely think, though, if you've read the first 2 books, that you'd want to pick up this book, because especially for the epilogue and the future scenes and seeing more of their story, yes, there's some points that are a little bit boring because of Slammed, you've already heard the things that's just in Will's perspective. But I think this is definitely a good addition to the series, and it gives you a little bit more. You could always stop at the second book. I don't think it would impair you, but I think that you'd want to probably know what happens at the end of this book. And it's not my favorite book in the series. It's my least favorite book in the series, but I really do enjoy this series, and it doesn't knock the rest of the books with it. It just seems more like a companion than a third book in the series. But yes, that's been my review on This Girl by Colleen Hoover. I want to thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye.